I'd like to call the October 15th Highway and Building Committee meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Kinzinger?
Present.
Mr. Long?
Present.
Mr. Hess?
Present.
Mr. Tholen? Ms. Polk?
Present.
Mr. Snipes?
Here.
Ms. Peters?
Present.
Ms. Haas?
Present.
Mr. Carrico?
Present.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Present.
Mr. Featherling?
Present.
Mr. Smith?
Present.
Mr. Dunnell?
Present.
Mr. Kirkstra?
Present.
Mr. Hunter?
Here.
Mr. Wheeler? Mr. Seroy?
I'm present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. I have nothing on my desk regarding public comment. Are there any public comment? Seeing none, let's move to approval of the minutes for September 10th, 2020. Moved by Mr. Smith, seconded by Mr. Long. That's a roll call vote.
Mr. Kinzinger?
Accept.
Mr. Long?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Aye.
Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Mr. Snipes?
Aye.
Ms. Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Haas?
Aye.
Mr. Carrico?
Aye.
Mr. Eckhoff? Mr. Featherling?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Dunnell?
Aye.
Mr. Kirkstra?
Aye.
Mr. Hunter?
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Thank you. Mr. Rogers.
Good morning. I don't have any bidding or lettings this morning, but I do have county engineers pay estimates. The first one I have is for our county general maintenance for 2020 supplement 3. This is payable to Grasso Construction Company in the amount of $28,655. Next is for our county general maintenance for 2020 supplement 1. This is payable to Osborne Associates. This is for some complete traffic signs we ordered, and that amount is $260.40. Next is our county general maintenance for 2020 payable to Prairie LLC. This is for road mix picked up at the quarry with our trucks, and that amount is $87.09. Next is for the county's 2020 general maintenance. This is payable to Vulcan Construction Materials. This is for road mix and chips picked up at the quarry with our trucks, and that amount is $9,045.09. Next is Pilot Road District for their 2020 general maintenance. This is payable to Grasso Construction Company for oil and chip work done in the township, and that amount is $53,927.40. Next is Norton Township for their 2020 general maintenance supplement 1. This is a final pay estimate to Ham and Wagner Excavating, and that amount is $5,813.71. Next is Celina Road District for their 2020 general maintenance. This is payable to the Celina Township Road District Treasurer. This is for equipment rental, and that amount is $20,000. Next is Auto Road District for their 2020 general maintenance. This is payable to Vulcan Construction Materials. This is for road mix picked up at the quarry with their trucks, and that amount is $1,350.80. Next is Bourbonnais Road District for section 17-02-124-00-BR. This is payable to Engineering Resource Associates. This is for bridge condition report and submittal for the bridge. I think this is one on Davis Creek, and that amount is $5,415. And last is a Norton Township Road District for section 20-09117-01-BR non-MFT. This is payable to Toby's Construction and Cartage. This is for replacement of a box culvert on 1000 South, and that amount is $52,079.95.
Mark, you read one number, I think, 53,000, and I don't have that copy. Could you check that? At least I couldn't find it. What was that for? Like 53,000. I thought maybe it was at the back, but I see
Which one don't you have?
oh, it's something around $53,000 right towards the beginning. I'd like to see that one.
Celina?
Yeah, that's about right.
Oh, the pilot one?
Is it 53,000?
Yeah, 53,927.40. This is a payment to Grosso Construction Company. This is just the rest of the oil and chip work that was done in the township.
Sure, thank you. Anybody else like look at this?
It's getting paid from their local funds. That's probably why it didn't get
Anybody
stuck
else?
in here.
Looks fine.
But we have to approve it anyway.
Mr. Hess, seconded by Mr. Long. That Dunno thing messes me up. Let's just turn it over. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Are there any questions regarding payment? A roll call vote, please.
Mr. Kinzinger,
Aye.
Mr. Long,
Aye.
Mr. Hess,
Aye.
Ms. Polk,
Aye.
Mr. Snipes,
Aye.
Ms. Peters,
Aye.
Ms. Haas,
Aye.
Mr. Carrico,
Aye.
Mr. Eckhoff, Mr. Featherling,
Aye.
Mr. Smith, Mr. Dunnell,
Aye.
Mr. Kirkstra, Mr. Hunter,
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Very good.
Mr. Rogers?
All right. I have two resolutions this morning. The first one is a resolution and ordinance for the establishment of an altered speed zone on 5,000 West at 4,000 North in Limestone Township Road District. Received a call from Commissioner Kramer requesting a speed study be done on 5,000 West, just south of 4,000 North. There's a group of homes there that have, there's lots of children and things in that area, and he wanted us to go out and do a speed study. Steve Blanchett, our traffic safety manager, did go out and do that study. His recommendation, considering the driveways and what else did he have? He's got residential driveways, pedestrians, and parking adjustment. He came up with a recommended speed of 35 miles an hour.
Is there a motion to?
Carrico.
Mr. Carrico, seconded by Mr. Long. We have a motion on the floor, a second. Any questions?
Nope.
Just curious on how the board members from that area feel about this. If this falls in line with what their thoughts are, then I'd be defer to their judgment.
Right.
Absolutely. This is a very crowded, dense place where homes are driveway to driveway. I believe the footage is like 60-foot lots. And so a lot of coming and going, a lot of children along that way. There's a stop sign not far from the area what we're talking about, and it's heavily traveled every day. It and 4,000 are main thoroughfares for the area. It's probably should have been done a long time ago.
Second question, who's responsible for signage?
The township is.
Township is. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Snipes?
Yes, unless I'm missing it. We have not, I mean, we make reference to the maximum speed limit, but we don't identify it as 35 miles per hour in the resolution. Is there a reason?
It's in the attachment. It's the third page.
It's part of the schedule.
So that'll be with this resolution?
That will be with the
Okay.
resolution, yes.
Thanks. I was looking for it in the wording, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Mr. Hess, did you have a question?
No.
Are there any other questions? Oh, we got one. Go ahead, Mr. Hunter.
He has to unmute himself because he is.
Your mute's on if you're talking.
Yeah, and any actual reports and any public safety tickets, reports, or data on that location?
We did not find any accident reports or anything. It was a concern of the highway commissioners that I'm pretty sure he probably was getting phone calls from the residents and asked us to do the speed study.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on the internet? Let's vote, please.
Mr. Kinzinger,
Aye.
Mr. Long,
Aye.
Mr. Hess, Ms. Polk,
Aye.
Mr. Snipes,
Aye.
Ms. Peters, Ms. Haas,
Aye.
Mr. Carrico,
Aye.
Mr. Eckhoff, Mr. Featherling,
Aye.
Mr. Smith, Mr. Dunnell,
Aye.
Mr. Kirkstra,
Aye.
Mr. Hunter,
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. The last resolution I have this morning is a resolution and ordinance for the establishment of restricted lane usage for truck traffic on Armour Road, County Highway 44 in the Village of Brantley. I received a call from Police Chief Don Barber from the Village of Bradley requesting that we restrict traffic for large trucks to the center lane in the 4-lane section of Armour Road, east of Christine Drive, out to Hunter's Run. We were a little skeptical at first. Steve Blanchett, my traffic safety manager, went out and sat there for a couple hours, and there are quite a few pedestrians using Armour Road to go to the park. Lots of families walking along there, and the large box trucks that are going through there make it daunting for some of the pedestrians walking along there. So he requested that we put up trucks use left lane only. In order for the village to enforce this ordinance, we have to have a resolution and ordinance on file for them to enforce it. We did put up the signs. I told the village that we couldn't enforce it until we got this resolution passed. They were very pleased that we're going ahead with this, but this board has to approve the resolution in order to enforce it.
Just wait a second, go ahead, Smith.
Since the signs have been put up, has anyone taken a look to see how it's affecting the trucks?
No, we just put them up the week before last, and no, we have not.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Feathering?
I'd like to make a comment about, in my district, with the truck problem we have over here in a lot of streets. So with the additional truck traffic we have around here these days, we really got to start watching these areas closely, because we have quite a change in truck traffic. Everybody's coming from Joliet, going over to Indiana and south. So the roads are blasted with trucks everywhere, containers all over the place. Going 80 miles an hour on Township roads out in my district.
This isn't a speed issue, this is a lane usage issue, and
Yeah.
it's different than typical,
Yeah.
where trucks are.
I was talking about truck traffic in general around, sorry.
Okay.
We got to start looking. Truck traffic in general, Ron, that's what I meant.
We have a motion on the floor. We need a second to approve this resolution, and we have more discussion. Mr. Snipes seconds. Now I guess we should have discussion and questions. Are there any questions? Yes.
I just having trouble with the mental picture of where this is at.
Okay, so the Christine is at Menards there on Armour Road, going easterly almost to Hunter's Run in that 4-lane section. We're telling the trucks to stay in the center 2 lanes and avoid, not to drive in the right lane adjacent to the curb.
And so where's county roads and where's Bradley roads?
County Highway 44 is Armour Road. It's all ours.
It's all ours from where you turn right at Texas Roadhouse there and go in that direction?
Well, from Lock Drive going east, yes.
Because I know it jumps from one to the other along that stretch. It's different.
No, it's the states from Route 50 to Lock, and then it's all county from there out, but it's within the Village of Brantley.
Gotcha.
My issue with this is typically trucks stay in the right-hand lane. They want them to move over to the left-hand lane. I hope this is a safety issue and not a revenue source. That's my concern, but based on what Mr. Rogers is saying and what Mr. Barber wants, we probably should do this, in my opinion.
People are using the bridge for travel. Was the other part of it? There's no walking lane? Is that the?
No, there is a pedestrian walkway on the bridge. It's because there's so little space between the edge of the curb and the sidewalk. When we widen that area, it used to be a 2-lane road, and we widened it to 4. We had to shoe in that sidewalk on each side because of right-of-way restraints. So it's very close to the curb.
Gotcha.
Go ahead, Mr. Snipes.
Thank you, Chairman. The reason that I second is because one, I know what he was talking about, but number 2 is because of the when you kind of squeeze that walkway in, there's a possibility that if that truck is there or don't see one, that something can happen. And I'm always been the proactive person that says, let's address an issue before the issue happens. So for the purpose of safety, I concur. And that's the purpose, you know, when it comes to public safety and especially pedestrian, I weigh on the side of caution for the pedestrian in that you can always have a truck to move, but you can never replace a life once taken. So that's the reason I said that.
I like the question asked earlier by Mr. Wheeler. Are any of the members in that area, do they have anything to say regarding this resolution? In particular, Mr. Carrico?
No, I do not.
Are there any other questions or comments? We have a motion and
Mr.
a
Chairman?
second. Did somebody say something?
Mr. Chairman, me and
Yes,
Mr. Kinzinger.
yes, Mr. Royce.
Thank you, sir. Mark, is garbage trucks excluded from this? I didn't see that in the resolution.
That's something that I can put in there if the board wants me to put that in
They gotta
there.
be over there to pick up.
Yeah.
They got to be over the weight, I would assume, but I don't
Right.
know what a garbage truck, and they have to be near the curb.
No,
so I would-
I'll insert that in there if that's what the board wants me to do.
I don't want to insert anything.
Just leave it.
That'd be discretionary.
I was just asking the question.
Just leave it gray.
Okay, I like gray sometimes.
Sometimes I do too.
Wait a few years, you'll want it.
Thank you, Mr. Hess. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. I think everybody's expressed their opinions. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Kinzinger,
Aye.
Mr. Long,
Aye.
Mr. Hess,
Aye.
Ms. Polk,
Aye.
Mr. Snipes,
Aye.
Ms. Peters,
Aye.
Ms. Haas,
Aye.
Mr. Carrico,
Aye.
Mr. Eckhoff,
Aye.
Mr. Featherling,
Aye.
Mr. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Deno,
Aye.
Mr. Kirkstra,
Aye.
Mr. Hunter,
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
I have
Anything
nothing else.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Andrews, you're next.
All right, good morning. Start off with the facility did report for the month of September. We had 183 work orders in the system, which is a pretty typical month. Moving on to the financial report that you have in front of you. You can see year-to-date for 2020, we're at 789,510 versus 778,800 last year. And I think all you really need to consider is the custodian number of 101,577, that's the addition of 2 custodians, and then the extra monies that we spent on COVID. So to only be $10,000 over budget, I think is a very good thing.
Is.
So any questions on that?
Oh, Mr. Hunter. Go ahead, Mr. Hunter.
He has to unmute.
You're on mute.
Yeah, I'm a little slow here this morning, the phone. Let me ask you this, in terms of maintenance workers, custodian, how diverse is your workforce? Do you have any bilingual staff at all?
Yes, we have one Hispanic employee. We have 2 African
That's
American
good.
employees.
I want to know if you have bilingual staff. That's good. Thank you. Appreciate it. That's what I like to hear.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Let's go ahead.
All right, moving on to the building report here at 189. We've still got some insurance claim outstanding issues. We had inspector come out. The insurance company hired a consultant to come out and look at our elevators here at the building. He was here yesterday. So he come out, I assume, to, verify what the vendors are telling us needs to happen with the elevators. If you recall, the west elevator took on water damage. The electrical components up on the roof, the actual elevator car, the ropes inside the elevator shaft. So what our vendor is telling us is, because of the damage to that elevator, they can't find proper parts for it because it's so old. They're offered us refurbished parts, something that I don't believe we should accept. So if we don't go the refurbished route, then you're looking at replacement, and you can't find those parts anymore. So if you replace one elevator with 2020 technology, the other elevator is going to have to be replaced with similar technology as well, so the two elevators talk to each other. So it seems to be a point of contention right now between the insurance company and our vendor. I had another vendor come out to look at it earlier this week. They're going to weigh in with their opinion and an estimate. So we'll have two estimates from elevator vendors, plus we'll see what the consultant says for the insurance company. So hopefully we're getting somewhere quickly, because it's August 10th is when the storm rolled through, and we're 2 months plus past that. So I continue to work on that. The IT room, we're still waiting on the new air conditioning units for the IT room. I've been working with our vendor on that as well, so hopefully that comes in soon, because we're running on temporary cooling right now. And from my days in insurance loss type work, insurance companies hate temporary cooling, or anything temporary for any length of time, because the cost just keeps adding up every day. So I've been working with our vendor on that, trying to push that along as fast as I can. Something else that I'm concerned with here is our one working elevator, with the wear and tear that it's getting, as it's the only working elevator in the building. So that's something that I don't know if that's going to be an insurance claim as well, if that requires a repair due to the amount of usage that it's getting over the last 2 months. Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Mr. Tess.
Thank you, Chairman. Wes, what type of refurbished parts are we looking at, and are they warranted?
No, there's no warranty.
There's no warranty.
So that's the issue, is there's no warranty on the refurbished parts, and they would be excluded from our maintenance coverage with our vendor. So we are under a maintenance agreement with our vendor, and they come out and they service the elevator. And if there's any new parts that were put in, and if they fail, the maintenance coverage will take care of that. But if we're going to go with refurbished parts, that would not be covered under the maintenance agreement that we have.
Is the elevator brain, or whatever they call that,
Yeah.
is that what we're looking at?
Right, it got wet. It's up on the roof. So all the electrical components in there got wet, and so that's what we're doing.
Just a second.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Smith?
Sir, on the life safety side of this, is there some way we can push this? Because I know some of our folks up on the 5th floor even are health concerns.
Oh, I'm pushing as hard as I can. I've had Chairman Wheeler involved. I've had our insurance agent involved. I just met with our insurance agent last week on this issue. So what I'm most disappointed about is the fact that, we finally got a consultant out this week, 2 months after the loss.
Yeah.
So
appreciate your effort.
Bet.
Go ahead, Mr.
Just so that the committee knows, we're not necessarily talking about tens of thousands of dollars here. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars here.
It's a big number.
And they can't just have like 2 independent elevators, which is one solution that was put to us. We'll just install different buttons and people can hit 3 or 4 different buttons. That's not a solution. And we have to have like pre-incident condition. That's what our insurance is. Pre-loss. And so we're not going to accept anything less than that. So we've got 2 competing elevator companies looking at this from both angles. About the best way to say is a kick in the pants is where we're at right now. We're trying to move it along as fast as we can, right? Because to Wes's point, that one elevator is doing double duty. It went down yesterday. We had a power surge both here and at the courthouse, and I believe the courthouses went down as well.
Yeah.
So we were without any elevator for about, 45 minutes to an hour?
Yeah.
That's a real problem. Especially the people that want to get out of the building and go home at the end of the day, or go up and the public to visit those offices. So
right,
it became very evident yesterday that this can go on not much. It can't go on for very much longer. So.
I agree. It's frustrating. Moving on to the courthouse, the antennas from the top of the dome are they've been removed. If you recall, due to the storm damage, one of the antennas was severely bent. The antennas up there were not being utilized for anything. So while we were up there removing the bent one, we took the other ones out as well. Cleaning is ongoing. I've heard of no issues there. I'm really proud to say that you know, the court staff, the judges, all seem to be very happy with the cleanliness of the courthouse. So certainly happy to report that. Something I will bring to your attention, in the parking lot southeast of the courthouse, there is a sewer drain there, and around the drain is about I'll call it about 1.5 feet hole around the drain. And maybe Ron can elaborate as to why that happens, but I'm assuming it's something to do with the pipes leading into the drain, probably leaking over the years, washing out the you know, soil or sediment or what have you, and so we've got a hole. Is that pretty accurate there, Ron? So I've got 2 estimates to repair. One is $6,850. The other is $4,650. With a big hole in the parking lot, we've got cones up there right now. I'd like to go ahead with the lower of the 2 bids, obviously. I don't know that I necessarily need an approval because you folks approve my budget at the end of the year anyway, but just wanted to make you aware that this is something that needs to be done. So are there any issues with that?
Well, it's too much money, but it really is, even your low bid. But if it's in your budget and you think it needs to be done, but I would probably be going for a 3rd bid.
Well, I can do that if that's the pleasure of the committee.
Mr. Snipes, you had a question earlier. I'm sorry I missed you.
Yeah, I was dealing with the elevators. 2 things. One is looking at a proposed cost if we were to replace both, which is something we're going to probably have to do. We've been here for quite some time, so and with the amount of uses of those elevators, you know, we would have to consider replacing both. I would agree. And then the second question is, what is an alternate plan? I haven't perused the building, but I do know that when I was looking for stairs to go down, I had to go backwards in order to get to the front. I had to go to the 2nd floor to get to the front to be able to exit the building.
Right.
So that would be kind of cumbersome, but it's a way out. So my question is, what is our alternate if both went down and people had to evacuate the building?
Yeah, I mean, if both are down, they have no choice other than to take the steps. And like you said, the stairwell goes from the 6th floor to the 2nd floor, and then you got to walk across the hallway, catch the steps, and then go down to the 1st floor. So, you know, I'm not aware of any other, you know, contingency plans other than heel toe express.
We have, I'm sure there's evacuation plans up, so they kind of are familiarized with that process.
Right.
Okay, thanks.
So just the scope on the repair for the drain would be obviously to remove the asphalt around the drain, excavate down, figure out what the issue is, replace the pipe, put, you know, gravel or you know, soil back in there, and then gravel on top, and then the asphalt and everything there. So Ron, I'll defer to you if you still think that's too high. I mean, I can get another quote if you'd like.
I'd like to talk to you after the meeting.
Okay.
And maybe if that's all right with everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mr. Chairman.
It's in your budget anyway, right?
Well, no, none of these types of repairs are in my budget.
Okay, very good.
You know what I'm saying?
I'd like to
I mean, at the end of the year.
Make sure I understand
go
everything.
Just a quick question.
Sure.
Are these typically like not to exceed numbers, and if it's found that the damage is not substantial, then, or do they say this is what it costs to fix, and then they come at you with a change order?
Right. Yeah, that would be more apt to. The second scenario is usually what would happen.
Okay.
Did I see somebody on the internet?
Yeah, Commissioner Snipes had posed a question, the initial question that I had, and I was trying to get your attention. What's the overall cost for the 2 elevators if we were to go for the newest technology as far as with Otis or whomever might be the vendor that would install new elevators. Hopefully our insurance company will satisfy that particular need, but I just want to know, what are we talking about? I know the Chairman Wheeler indicated we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I was wondering what the overall cost would be for replacement of both the elevators.
Well, I have a bid that's coming from Otis, so if they're watching this right now, I'd rather not share that number.
I understand.
But I'm happy to, if you want to give me a call, we can certainly talk about that.
Okay, that's good, because I know that the chairman mentioned that there was, we're not talking about tens of thousands, we're talking about gargantuan numbers. And I remember with Kankakee City years ago, when we initially put one in, it was a lot of money as well too. So, and that's been 50 blue moons ago. So
yeah, anything elevator related is very expensive.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. The annex, nothing to report there. The old jail, typical stuff, drain backups. I think we dealt with 2 last month. They always seem to happen after hours. So, big credit to my staff for always being on call and answering their phone and going in to deal with this, because it's always a Friday at 10 p.m. it seems, when something like this happens. One issue that has come up at the old jail, and we uncovered it with the storm as well. When we lost power at the old jail and the generator kicked on and worked as it should, the power was surging. So it was going on and off, on and off, on and off. And what we figured out was the generator was struggling to keep up with the power load from the building because of the elevator that was installed. If you remember, about a year and a half ago, we installed that new elevator in the old jail. So when they put the new elevator and the new elevator hydraulic motor in there, the motor, being newer, pulls more power than the old starter on the old elevator. So it's maxing out the generator load right now on the building. So when we're on generator power and that elevator's running, it's really struggling. The lights are flickering on and off, and it's an issue. So we had our vendor come out, they looked at it, and they said it is common. We need something called a soft start on the elevator, so when it does fire up, it doesn't pull as much load on the generator. So I've got one bid, and as long as I've got the second relationship going right now with the other vendor, I'm going to get another one. But the first bid for that was $7,830 to install the soft start system on that elevator. It's something that we're going to have to do. Either that or we look at replacing the generator. So I think this is probably the route we want to go.
Probably should have had it. Probably should have had it to start with.
Yeah, I had no idea that this would become an issue. So I suppose the company that put the elevator in would have been nice if they'd made us aware of this.
Sure, I agree.
Question on that? Is a competing company's product covered under our current vendor's maintenance contract?
That's something we'll have to ask, and I'm looking at bidding the maintenance contract as well. That's up in 2021, so that's something that we'll look at. We'll get another number for our maintenance services as well.
Excellent thought. Mr. S.
Thank you. Wes, is that 220 or 480?
I think it's 480.
Okay.
Okay, other issues there, stuff I talk about we're constantly chasing water leaks. As soon as we fix one leak, another one springs up somewhere else. So, to talking about expenses and, having plumbers come out, but it's with that age of a building, I guess it's to be expected. We've had some hot water heater issues there as well. We continue to fight those. At JCDC, the LED project is ongoing. 90% of public safety is done. I believe it looks great. Some folks out there are complaining that it's too bright, and I remind them that they're there to work and not nap. So,
They'll die out.
Yes. So 90% of public safety is done. 22% of the jail is done. So they're working through that. They expect to be done with that whole facility by the end of the month. We are scrapping and recycling all the fixtures. That was something that originally the contractor was going to do. However, we decided that they're county fixtures and the county should recycle those things and reap the funds for that, which leads me to my next point. What I would like to do, for whatever reason, when I was going through the bidding and estimating process with with our contractor, the coroner's area, for whatever reason, was omitted. And I suppose if you want to blame somebody, you can blame me. Must be my mistake that I missed that. So what I would like to do is use the scrap money from the fixtures to offset the fixture price for the coroner. It's only about 15 fixtures. It'll probably be more than enough. So that's my plan to take care of the coroner, Andy.
Everybody's nodding their head, yes.
October 29th, Andy and I and others are meeting with the union for contract negotiations, so we should have an update on that at next month's meeting. So that's all I got.
Anybody have anything for Mr. Andrews? Is that you again, Mr. Hunter? We're going to limit you, so make it good.
That's me. I just got a question, Hugh, regarding the old jail. Is it in your foreseeable list of activities to power wash the gray ghost?
Boy, it would look nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, wouldn't it though? Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause it looks.
Yeah. No, I've thought about it. You're talking about, lifts, to get up high. I mean, I think it would, it'd be quite an improvement. If we want to spend the money on that, yes, I would love to do it because it needs it. But it's just a question. It's just a matter of, do we want to?
It just looks like I said, a gray ghost.
Right. No, it needs to be done for sure.
It was supposed to be painted at one time too.
Would due consideration be given to maybe do it in increments or what?
Yeah, we can.
Never look the same.
No.
You can't.
Phases?
No. It needs to be put in a budget and done in its entirety. Costs too much.
Ron, I thank you very much, sir. We agree on that. We agree on that, sir. You guys mentioned there was money issues. I'm just saying, in order to enhance the beauty of the building or the appearance of the building, it needs it. That's all I'm saying. That's
it definitely needs it. So,
Mr. Wheeler.
Thank you. And I would absolutely agree. I know those that are at the city of Kankakee would love to see that happen. It definitely does not present very well from the outside. It's a big monolithic, like you said, a big gray soiled structure. But just like our tower here that we have, there's things that we want to do to paint here. Next year's budget is completely flat. Our expenses are going to match our revenues in this era of COVID, which is pretty darn good, frankly. We'd love to get to it, and believe me, we've talked about this tower in the past. So that doesn't mean we shouldn't get a price and figure out what it should cost for when we could do it. So I think that's a worthwhile activity, just like painting this over here. But I wouldn't expect that we would be able to afford that for at least another year or two.
Yeah, I understand that. The COVID thing makes everybody wonder what's going on. But I agree with Mr. Hunter. That's something that needs to be considered and done.
Yeah, we could figure it out.
Does that solve your issues there, Mr. Hunter?
No, candidly, had there been any special thoughts, considerations regarding some fundraising for that? If some particular community-basthere organization would want to take that upon themselves, Friends of the Jail or something, to address that. Maybe there could be organizations or high schools in the county that could collaborate, student council presidents meet and talk about, fundraising in order to address that. It'd be something to think about.
Maybe we should
be alternative groups.
Maybe we should go with Mr. Wheeler's idea of finding out approximate cost. It may be very reasonable and they may be very expensive, but we'll do that first and then we'll look at funding.
That's all a part of it. That's correct. I would concur with that.
Anybody else have? Yes, Mr. Snipes.
Well, since we're on a wish list, I would like to make that building red, white, and blue. I want to make sure it's distinguished from the same.
I'll get you a brush and some paint.
Then you gotta get past. Anybody else have, are you finished? Just don't, go ahead. Does
I'm
anybody else have any questions for Mr. Andrews? Anybody on the internet? Anybody in the room? Thank you, sir. Thank you. Is there any old business come before us? I have something under new business and I don't know what that is. Who's presenting that to us? Motion to solicit bids for vending.
Yeah, every, I could, Mr. Chairman. Every couple of years, we go out to bids for the vending contract for certain portions of the county, the machines. So that would be just a mention that we need to have a motion here to go ahead and do our biannual, solicitation for bids to do those.
How do you do that? Is that an advertised bid in the paper or?
Yeah,
so everybody has a shot at it?
Everybody has a shot at it, correct, yeah.
So moved.
Second.
Aaron Dunnell seconded. So we have a motion and a second on the floor to go out for bids for vending for the county. Are there any questions or ideas?
Yeah, with specific locations, the jail does their own thing. It's those departments that are over, it's just the buildings that we manage here.
County buildings
Yeah,
that
the
we
county
manage.
that we manage, just administration, yeah.
Any other comments? I think we're ready to vote. Roll call vote.
Mr. Kinzinger?
Aye.
Mr. Long?
Aye.
Mr. Hess?
Aye.
Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Mr. Snipes?
Aye.
Ms. Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Haas?
Aye.
Mr. Carricone?
Aye.
Ms. Drackoff? Mr. Featherling?
Aye.
Mr. Smith? Mr. Dunnell?
Aye.
Mr. Kirkstra?
Aye.
Mr. Hunter?
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Thank you. Is there any other business that needs to come before this committee today? Mr. Hess.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Hess makes a motion to adjourn and Mr. Kirkstra seconds that. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Internet the same.
Aye.
Thank
Have a
you.
nice day, everybody.